Welcome back to the Real Cinema Squad. I'm Austin, and that's Ty, and today we're here to talk about the Acolyte Episode 6. Me and Ty were just talking before this stream, and we were just talking about how really nothing happened in this episode. I mean, you could probably make that argument for the first couple episodes too, but after we get so much more time with these characters and a pretty epic fight sequence in episode 5, you would think that we would have gotten more of this, Ty, just more explanation of what's going on. Instead, we really just got a separation of our characters and some just looming questions that I honestly just kind of scratching my head at. So would love to jump into this, but essentially what this episode gave us was two separate situations. We had Sol and Mae on the ship, and we had Qimir and Osha on the Sith planet or wherever he was hiding out. And they both kind of just had a bunch of dialogue about each other's philosophies and that kind of thing. So, we were right about the Osha Mae switch. So it was good to see there. It seems that Qimir and Sol both knew what was going on, yet they still decided to
allowed it to happen
among their apprentices, or the opposite of their apprentices. So it's kind of interesting there, but we'd love to know what your thoughts are about this episode. So let's jump in.
Yeah. So we wake up on some unknown planet, and Osha follows Smilo Rin down to what I am currently calling the Fountain of Youth, apparently. And where he strips down to absolutely bare naked and goes into this pool, and Osha checks him out, So Smilo Rin emerges out of the water glistening, and we get our first ever Sith thirst trap. And I want to expound on this because there's a point behind me, elaborating on this whole thing, which I thought was a little ridiculous, is that we are sexualizing the Sith, and we're trying to make Qimir, Smilo Rin, Mr. Sexy Sith Man, super, super appealing to everyone. Like, you want to like him. You want to believe what he believes. You want to they're trying to get you to understand where he's coming from and almost like hate the Jedi or question the Jedi. And that point I just never have liked. I understand that the Sith are trying to corrupt and to lie and to cheat, and they want ultimate power. And so they'll do whatever it takes to get ultimate power. But this guy's not even claiming to be a Sith. But he's definitely a dark side user, and now he's trying to convert Osha. Clearly he's trying to make her a pupil and to teach her the ways of the dark side. But I just find it so odd that they had that whole scene in there. Like, I think that was completely unnecessary, him stripping down and walking into the water. Another question I have is, he claims to be a Jedi, or used to be a Jedi a long, long time ago, and she's like, I have no recollection of you. And he's like, it was a long time ago. And he has this big scar on his back. Clearly wasn't from a lightsaber, so it was from his master, I'm assuming, whoever that might be. So there's a lot of mystery and intrigue around this Sith character, Smilo Rin, as we like to call him. But yeah, that was one of the things I wanted to point out. Before we get into the rest of it, I want to get some of your thoughts as well.
Yeah, it's like the whole thing with him trying to be suave and the way they present him. It's like, it's like the whispers of the devil trying to make you believe that, what's being portrayed to you is good.
Yeah.
You see it in countless things. And so it's just funny how they're trying to portray that. I have no, I think that the actor that plays Qimir is carrying a lot of the show for sure, along with Sol. However, it's not, from a character standpoint, I still don't really care what he's doing. I really don't really care why we're even learning this. It's not like some other Sith that are just, so incredibly evil and have these master plans that you're just we know this is the bad guy, and we're just curious to see what madness he's gonna ensue. Now it's just more of just this guy's just comfortable chilling on a fishing beach and hanging out with Osha and trying to tell her that everything she learned is false. And, so it's pretty interesting. But I think with the things that stuck out to me is on the flip side of this whole thing is we get the subplot in this episode where the green girl, I think Vernestra is her name, Master Vernestra.
Mm-hmm.
She's trying to get a hold of Soul. Soul tries to message them to tell them all the Jedi are dead. Her apprentice or that other Jedi guy like comes in and was like, hey, Soul's trying to message us. And she's like, oh, I sent him there, so we need to go check it out. So her and like 5 other Jedi go to this planet, Kofar, and see Jecki and Yord and all these other people just laying there dead, which just opens up the can of worms more of how are you going to cover this up if you think the Sith have been extinct for millennia.
Exactly.
And so that's just kind of an interesting thing for me still. It's just sloppy in my opinion. But the characterizations of the Jedi is really where it gets me. Honestly, where did this $22 million per episode go in the making of this show? Because the episode does not seem like a $22 million episode. And the way, like, the beach is probably the only real location that they filmed on, it seems like. Everything else seemed like a set. And other than Vernestra, even though I think she's a terrible actress, the other Jedi, especially that dude, it's like they picked somebody off of the side of the road and said, hey, you want to act in Star Wars? It's just like the way he was so awkward, the way he acted. He had no presence of what a Jedi should be like. You watch the prequels, you watch how Obi-Wan acted in the original trilogy, and these people came off as these wise and these stoic and brave people. That guy, I feel like somebody could shoot him up and spit him out for lunch.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it doesn't make any sense. And one of the questions I don't know if you caught this, Ty, he asked Vernestra before they got on the ship to go to Kofar. He was like, can you fly? Like, don't you get like sickness,
motion sickness or something?
Sickness? And it just seemed like yeah, it's possible that people are like that. I mean, Obi-Wan hated flying because of everything too, but it just seemed like a really random thing to say in a Star Wars show of being like, and then she was just kind of like awkward, like, oh yeah, I guess I am, but it'll be okay. It took me out of it. It just is another thing that's just like taking me out of the world. And then one of the other things that I thought was hilarious is the marketing for this show. Everybody was like either hyped or pissed off that there was a purple whip lightsaber that Vernestra had. We finally get to the scene where she uses it, and it's all because she sensed one of those like beetle bugs that was about to fly at her.
She killed a massive cockroach
and hits that, and then she puts it up, and it was like you could tell they were trying to film it like it was supposed to be this like really like badass like epic moment.
Yeah.
And nothing, and it just was like, okay, like she killed a bug. She didn't even whip it out for any other good reason. Yeah. And then she puts it back, and they immediately just go back to talking. And the guy Jedi, he starts trying to make accusations that Soul is the reason they're all dead and that kind of thing. But I don't know, that whole thing really took me out of it. It just probably was the thing that stuck out to me the most.
Yeah, I mean, we had Smilo Ren whipping it out in a different way, and Vernestra whipping out her purple whip for no other reason than to kill a bug. So that's just that's the Acolyte summed up right there for you.
Now this is Star Wars.
Yeah, this is the Disney Star Wars. This is not George Lucas's Star Wars. I just find it so funny that they're painting the Jedi out to be these weaklings and just are like things go over their heads and they're not with it. You know, this was supposed to be the height of the Jedi Order, right?
For over 1,000 generations, the Jedi Knights were the guardians of peace and justice in the Old Republic.
There's no regality or like feeling of that they're on top of their game in this.
Exactly, like they're supposed to be, and like it just blows my mind. Like, how does the Jedi High Council, like, how do they not know what's going on? Like, how they not already been notified?
Yeah.
Of any ongoings, you know, like, and there's just a lot. I have more questions than answers in this show. Like so many just things that I like. What the heck's going on?
We had that weird scene, and I still don't understand why it was there. Is when Vernestra was talking to that senator over the hologram.
Yeah.
And it just, from the context of what the rest of the show has been about, what was the purpose of that scene? Like, I mean, yeah, Star Wars usually has political stuff, and they've always been involved, but for the context of the story, it's like that made no sense, and to me, it didn't add anything to it. Other than just like a filler for her to be there.
Yeah, I mean, that was just a filler. But yeah, and then we get back in Smilo Ren's little cave, and they get to talking about the dark side, and ultimately, I want to talk about what we think is going to happen in these last 2 episodes. So episode 7 and 8.
Yeah.
So we end with obviously, thank God, Soul knew that it was Mae the whole time. Like, if he didn't, then that would have been the final straw. Like, oh, you got duped by Mae. Oh man, she cut her hair. I don't know how I couldn't find out it was her. So he knew it was her all along. They're having a conversation, and now he's got her strapped, locked down, and they're going to find Smilo Rin and Osha, and they're going to have a long conversation aboard the ship while they are in search of the other 2. And then we got Smilo Rin and Osha, and Smilo's basically trying to corrupt Osha and create a pupil. It ends with Osha putting the helmet on. So
yeah.
And heavy breathing, and putting on the helmet, and it's just her and the Force now. So
yeah, I think essentially what they're trying to set up is that they're trying to bring a dichotomy here of Mae and Osha both have good and bad in them.
Yeah.
And they're trying to show that Osha's probably going to get corrupted a little bit and start questioning the Jedi, and then maybe like align with her sister, if possibly. So I feel like, I don't know. I honestly, like, I have no idea where this story is going other than maybe, guessing about Osha and Mae, because at the end of the day, it's like, what are they going to do that's going to be anything meaningful to connect to what we already know leading up to the prequels? Like, where is this going to leave the Jedi? They're just going to be clueless that nothing happened, or more people are going to die, and then they're just going to be like, oh well,
Yeah, it just blows my mind. Like, the Jedi were great at keeping records, right? Unless you're Dooku and you remove records, but they're good at keeping records. They are honest and transparent, and they go before the council and they ask questions, and they're deliberate, and it makes no sense. Like, so all these Jedi are wiped out, and they're not going to know how they were wiped out. Like, this is supposed to be a peace time in the Republic. There's Sith in the shadows, and what master of this Smilo Rin, who's going to show up? I think they're going to have someone show up in episode 8 on like a cliffhanger. But where do we go from there, and how do they tie this in? Like you said, how do they tie this into the prequels without just completely destroying and retconning things? Which maybe they don't care. Maybe they don't care.
Track record shows they don't really care. However, I think if they're going to do anything meaningful, which I don't even know, like I said, at this point, I don't even know if it's worth it. Plagueis could be the master. Darth Tenebris could be the master. If you're going to connect it to legends, connect it to stuff people already know. But at the end of the day, what is that really going to do anything? Like, I'd be shocked if this show gets a season 2, if they want to waste more money. So Leslie Headland has said that it'll be most of it will be wrapped up by the end of the season, except a couple mysteries that will be left hanging if a season 2 happens, which I feel like is a little bit of damage control on their end. But I don't know. I mean, I have no idea what possibly could end up here. I feel like one of the sisters is probably going to die. They'll probably kill Qimir. Jedi will go back to the status quo.
I mean, Soul's got to die, right?
I'd assume so.
Yeah. So maybe they kill each other at the same time. Maybe they all kill each other at the same time, and that's it.
Everybody forgets.
Like, everyone forgets.
The men in black come in and mind wipe everybody.
That's right. That's right. Maybe that's what happens.
What I thought was funny, here's an honorable mention for the episode. I feel like we got like an Apple tech support section of the episode.
Oh, gosh.
Mae was trying to put together back the droid of Osha. And she's like, how about I just reset you? And she like holds down the button like you would do on a reset on an iPhone.
Oh my gosh, dude.
And then the thing like resets. And I was like, oh, it's that simple to reset droids. Cool. So just go behind R2.
Yeah, should have done that to R2D2 and C3PO. It would have been just like that. But
yeah. So I'm glad we got Galactic Tech support.
Everybody, thank you for watching. Let us know what you think in the comments. Do you think we're full of it? Did you like the episode? Do you like Smilo Ren? Do you like Osha? Do you like Mae? Do you like any of the characters? It's okay if you like them. We might disagree with you, but it's okay if you like them. It's okay if you like Disney Star Wars. It's not for everybody. It's not for us. But we continue to watch it to give y'all information and feedback, and hopefully some of y'all got something out of this. But until next time, we are the Real Cinema Squad, signing off.